In this demonstration, we're going to get you up and started with your first live network traffic capture. The easiest way to start successfully capturing traffic using Wireshark is to capture your own local traffic. So we need you connected to the network. Go ahead and bring up the Wireshark application. When it opens, it'll bring you to the Welcome to Wireshark window. You will notice here that there's an opportunity to enter a capture filter. We'll be talking about that in a later module. And below it, it lists the interfaces that I have available on this computer that I'm running Wireshark on. Now, I deployed Wireshark 2.0 with the USB packet capture. And so you can see I have 3 pieces of equipment plugged into my USB ports, and so I can capture that information if I wish to. You can see here's my Ethernet connection, and you can see by looking at this bar here that I have activity on my Ethernet connection. Indeed, I have a video running. I also on this machine have Bluetooth and also 2 Wi-Fi NIC cards. You'll also see the local area connection for my NIC card. Now, if you see different interfaces and you want to know what they are, you can go into the main menu, Capture, and select the options. And that will bring up the Wireshark Capture Interface pane. And you'll notice all of the interfaces are listed. And again, you can see the activity that's going on these different interfaces. If you click on these little arrowheads, it'll display information about that interface. So if you're not sure which one you want to sniff, this is a good place to come and check out those details. Notice also down here that the Enable Promiscuous mode has been checked. This should be checked by default, but it's good to check that. And again, we talked about promiscuous mode in the previous module. So I can start the capture here, but I'm just going to go ahead and close this because it'd be much more normal for you to come in and say, okay, I want to capture on the Ethernet interface, and you just double click that. And now you can see that I am indeed capturing packets. Down at the bottom here is the status pane. I'm just going to drag this across, and you can see the number of packets that I am collecting. I'm going to let that run to about 10,000, and then I'm going to come up here and stop the packet capture. And I can use the icons underneath the main menu to do that quickly. So I can just click that, and that will stop the packet capture. And you can see down here in the packet capture that yes, indeed, it has stopped capturing those packets. Now, here are some icons here with the green arrow that enable me to navigate around the packet capture. I'm going to select this one here, which will take me to the top of the packet capture. So this takes me to the very first packet that I captured. Now, the first thing to notice is that the Wireshark window is broken into 3 panes. This first one is called the packet list pane. And as the name suggests, it lists the packets that I've captured, and there is one line for every packet. And over here on the left, you can see the packet number. So going from 1 all the way down to over 14,000. You will notice that I can pull this down if I want to display more of the packets that I've captured. And I also want you to note that there are columns here. And this is what the protocol dissector that we talked about in the first module does. It takes each of those packets and breaks it down into individual fields and displays them in these columns. Later on, we'll be talking about how we can customize these columns. You can expand these columns to see the content a little bit more clearly. And you can see not only do I have the packet number, I have the time that the packet was captured, and then I have the source and destination addresses. So this shows where the packet is coming from and where it is going. It shows me the protocol. And over here I have some additional information about the packet content. For each packet, underneath I have the packet details pane. And as the name suggests, this shows me the details that are within each packet. And so I can expand it by clicking on these arrowheads to then see the content of these packets. For example, I can see that this packet was sent with an Ethernet destination address. Coming down my bottom pane is what we would call the packet bytes pane. And as the name suggests, this displays the actual content of the packet in a hex form. And if I right-click this, I can select Show as Bits. And you can see then it displays it in the binary form of ones and zeros. Notice here that if I highlight the content in the packet details window, such as the example we went through, the Ethernet destination address, you will see that that field is then highlighted in the packet bytes pane. Now what you see in the packet bytes window is the ones and zeros that was actually passed up to the Wireshark application. And then Wireshark has taken those ones and zeros and using the protocol dissector has interpreted what those ones and zeros mean and has displayed it in an English format. So it's saying, look, this is the Ethernet destination address. Now what I always tell people is that you can trust the ones and zeros because that's what the NIC card passed up to the application layer. And when you look at the English description, however, this is based on how the protocol dissectors were developed. And when you're looking at protocols such as Ethernet, IP, TCP, you can be pretty sure that those definitions are right. If you're looking at more esoteric protocols that perhaps not so many people have reviewed, it may not be unusual to see an error in Wireshark. So I always tell people, trust the ones and zeros and have a little bit of skepticism when you're looking at the definition of what those ones and zeros mean. Now before you finish this, because we're going to come back and look at this capture later, please select File, come down and select Save and create a new folder. In my case, I called it My Wireshark Capture, and give it a name and save it because we will be coming back and looking at this packet capture in the subsequent labs in this module. But in this demo, you have now done a live capture. You have seen that Wireshark displays it in 3 panes, a packet list pane, a packet detail pane, and then the packet byte pane. We also looked at the status bar, and in particular in the status bar at the bottom, you can see the number of packets that you've captured and the number of packets that are displayed.